Hello my sick friends, welcome back to a new therapy session of Sick Games Entertainment, the channel where we treat your sim racing symptoms. The only problem with that is that I am not your doctor, but just a patient here myself. Alright, so today's episode is dedicated towards iRacing with virtual reality headsets and the 3080 RTX graphics card by NVIDIA. As some of you may recall, we had some problems with the page fault meter. This has now finally been resolved, and the solution to this was basically getting a second computer for the recordings. Now we'll be using the simulator here for the racing itself, and then a secondary machine setup just for the recording, ensuring the quality is up without problems. So first up, let me mention this is using a Pimax 5K Plus, and the good news for you here is that any other headset has lower resolution than the Pimax 5K Plus. So meaning Index users, Vive users, Oculus users, you all should be able to apply those settings because your resolution isn't going to be that demanding. In SteamVR, I'll show you all the settings right now as screenshots because I hate it when people show some settings but then they don't show a complete guide where all kinds of variables may change the outcome. So I'll show you the SteamVR setup, and as you can see here that resolution is currently at 2560 by 2104, which is a bit of a weird resolution, but that's the way the Pimax is set up. And it doesn't change here. It doesn't matter if you change that to auto or manual, that resolution is going to be mandated by the field of view, which is selected in the Pi tool. The motion smoothing here is disabled. Pay attention to that, so it's not, there's no trickery here. We'll achieve the 90 frames per second without motion smoothing. Next screen up is the Pi tool settings, which have the field of view set to normal, and fixed foveated rendering is balanced. So all of those settings obviously only apply to you if you're using a Pimax. If you're using something else, then don't worry about that. Your field of view is going to be unfortunately lower anyway, meaning also your resolution will be lower. Next up, we'll have some NVIDIA settings. There's two screenshots required here to show you the minimal changes that were applied within the NVIDIA settings. Also, don't forget to adjust your game mode. I don't know which settings you are running your Windows at. I used to run game mode off, but now for OBS the recommended current settings are that game mode is to be set to on. So just to exclude any variables, game mode is on. Last but not least, I'll try to include the APP.ini and renderer files in the YouTube description, in the video description, so you can download the APP.ini file and download the renderer DX11 file, so you can adjust those settings based on the files that you'll see. I don't necessarily recommend copy-pasting those files, at least not without beforehand saving your own files. I don't want to mess with your files, but just so we don't have to go through every single step, you can see what the adjustments, which adjustments have been made in my settings.
Alright, so here at the grid you can see that the frames instantly go down to about 75 FPS, and that's not to worry about. Once we start driving, it almost immediately goes up to 90. And the first lap is just a little bit of a difficulty. I guess there's some stuff loading, or I don't know what this is, but it gets instantly better after the first lap. Particularly the first corner when the race starts is when it struggles the most. But again, this is not something that is really concerning. Initially there are some moments where the frames dip, but it's like a second or so that you have this experience. The frame time limit is the only thing that causes this. So I'm not running out of RAM, I'm not running out of GPU. It's something with the frame time. I haven't figured this exactly out. If someone is watching and knows what exactly frame time does and how it is concerning, or like what causes this, then yeah, let me know. But aside from that, I said, look at this right now. We're gonna start driving, and it goes up to 90. And there you go. And I said, the first lap you'll have to bear in mind, but right after that, it's gonna almost consistently stay at 90. And I believe that for the most of you, using anything other than the Pimax will have a much better experience at this. The page fault meter never spikes up again as previously. It's, as said, that was an OBS error that was occupying all the VRAM. And I believe that we can actually even tune this even more. The only variable here on this track is basically the pit, because in this pit here on this track there is no crew. I don't know why, but apparently it's an old track. The pit crew is set to maximum, all the settings are on high, but yeah, there's just no animation, no crew at all. So that's why this track is not particularly the best for benchmarking this. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up for about 90 seconds just so you can listen to the first lap, because there's nothing to say, just watch the FPS, and it's hilarious what's been going on. I'll tell you a story about this later, what happened. But yeah, I was laughing the entire first lap during the race. Headphone users, beware, there's some, you wanna know, screaming.
Okay, Alex, are you ready? Let's go.
I have no idea why people break the start line.
Car right, 3 wide, you're in the middle, clear all around. Car left, clear left. On your right. Still there, right side's clear.
Really? Really?
Up. What the fuck are you doing? On your left. You're still there.
At least buy him dinner first. Come on. What the fuck is this race start? Well, no one's getting my money.
Left side, clear left.
Mike, I tried to give everybody my money, no one would take it. I wanted those 100 bucks so hard. Nope, everybody had to do it.
What are you doing? Woo! Car left, clear left.
And remember, it's for a full 2 laps.
The front 5 are still good, Kerry. I think you can give it to us.
Alright, well, let me chime back in. Yes, you have seen this was a pretty crazy start, and it's a lot funnier when you know that one of the guys basically said before the race, I'm gonna pay everyone $100 if you don't crash on this race, because it wasn't like an important race for him. And all jokes aside, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether he would do it or not, but it's just so funny when you see like 10 seconds into the race, the guy is screaming, everyone's crashing. And yeah, it was just hilarious. And like some of the guys were like, oh, I needed that $100, and oh, I'm so sorry. It was just hilarious. I don't know, I couldn't stop laughing the entire time. I was so happy that my mic was turned off, because I would have ruined the entire footage. Anyway, so yeah, the whole race was not really a race, as you probably have seen. I haven't really raced. I've tried people not to crash into, and I started 17th and then I finished in P8 by not doing anything. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the GPU utilization. As we can see, most of the time it's set at 75%, so it's not overheating, it's not bottlenecking. I believe that you can adjust those settings even higher. So either with even with a higher anti-aliasing, because right now we're using anti-aliasing 4X, With the HTC Vive, I was able to use anti-aliasing 8x, everything maxed out. On the Pimax, I was a little bit afraid of that. But this time everything is on, like everything is on high, even HDR is on, all the mirrors are on. And by the way, speaking of mirrors, did you guys see footage like this before recorded in VR? Because I haven't. What I mean is, look at the field of view. You can almost see both of the mirrors. And I've never seen a recording where someone would actually be able to record that kind of field of view. I had to do a lot of adjustments and settings and download like some plugins and crop the image. But all in all, I'm very happy with the results, because this is a pretty good quality recording. Not to compliment myself, but I mean, I've seen people record Pimax through the lenses, using all kinds of cameras and whatnot, but I've never seen an actual footage of what one would see. And this is almost what I see in the headset. It's not exactly what I see, because my field of view inside the headset is even greater, because what you're seeing right now is footage through only one eye. So basically I've picked the right lens to record this instead of the left one, so you can actually see a little bit further more to the right, because everyone is usually recording through the left lens, which is automatic, and you never actually see this kind of footage. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I've never seen anything on YouTube that would actually show that kind of field of view. And that's at normal field of view settings in the Pimax. You can go even larger than that. So that's about 140 degrees. You can go up to like 170, maybe even more. Anyway, just wanted to address that a little, because yeah, I look forward to filming races with this kind of, you know, setup with all the graphics. I mean, it looks fantastic. I almost could say that it almost looks better inside the headset. There are almost no jitters. There's a little bit of jitters. I mean, I've got to be honest, but you know, gotta play around with the anti-aliasing settings. Also, one variable that we did not address for those of you who are new to this channel are the PC specs. So you know it's a 3080. What you don't know is that it's all highest specs available, because I just built that computer about a month ago. So it's using a 10900K. It's overclocked now to like 4.9 gigahertz in all cores, which is not optimal, but I'm too noob in that regard. I would need some help in overclocking if anyone cares to help out. Then we're using 32 gigs of RAM, running at 3600 megahertz XMP profile. Those are all, yeah, basically basic. Then what else we have? We're using an NVMe by Gigabyte RS, which is crazy fast. That's at 5000 megabytes read and write speeds. And yeah, the 3080 is a Founders Edition. It's not an AIB, so it's not overclocked. That's all stock. And obviously you don't download the newest drivers and whatnot for NVIDIA. But yeah, that's about it. So now you should have all the specs and all the variables covered. For the AMD users among you, I mean, guys, I hate to say it, but iRacing and VR, it's all particularly iRacing is all Intel optimized. If you would switch to an Intel CPU, you would have better results, because all it matters is the speed and the single core performance. So yeah, even if you do have the 3080 RTX, if it's matched to the wrong CPU, you may not get this kind of performance. But at least you have a guide now, and hopefully this covers it for just about everyone.
Congratulations, you made it to the finish line of this video. Did you know that clicking the like button is like saying thank you in YouTube language? It pushes my videos to further patients like yourself. If you didn't like this video, double click the dislike button to show me who's boss. Sharing this video makes you faster on the racetrack. Leaving a comment down below saves you from crashing in turn 1. Hit the prescription button for Sick Games Entertainment if you need further treatment with your sim racing fever.
What the fuck are you doing?
At least buy him dinner first. Come on.